But let's start with the glorified friendly. As
that's
this
what
is
we
what you
need.
call it if you lose the game at
Yes,
Wembley.
exactly.
The Community Shield. Palace winning on penalties. Kind of no-shows, I thought, from Mohamed Salah and
Absolutely.
Virgil van Dijk especially.
Yeah.
What is this? Okay, we have to praise Palace. The same team from last year, almost like a rerun of what we saw in their FA Cup run.
Yeah.
So all credit to them. I think they should probably deserve to win the game in the 90 minutes. That said, should we be worrying a little bit about Liverpool? I feel like so much hype with spending so much money and stuff. Or
Yeah, I mean, for Palace, same 11 that the one that played the FA Cup final against Manchester City. Same patterns of play, same tactics system, everything you want. So you would expect a performance like that from them, and you got it. Munoz on the right-hand side, what Mateta does, Eze, your back three, everything, your midfield, even with Kamara getting injured quite early and being replaced by Hughes. It was exactly what you would expect from Palace, and it works. Like he worked last season in the FA Cup, like he usually works against in those big games. And he did. For Liverpool, they were never going to be ready, I think, so early in the season because you had two of your back four new players, Frimpong, Kerkers, because you had a midfield without Gravenberch and McAllister from the start, which is new. And then you've got, obviously, have Ekitike who's there, and Wirtz who is there, who changed everything they do with the ball. So I think it was normal to see Palace so good already and doing what they do. And for Liverpool, it was normal to see them stuttering a little bit, let's put it that way at times.
We'll get back to the game itself, but I just want to talk more broadly about Liverpool. We were all asked to do our predictions. I did not have Liverpool as champions. And I had this deluge of people jumping all over me and blah, how could you be so stupid, blah, blah, blah. It's clearly Liverpool. And I want to point out, I will revise my decisions when the transfer window closes because it's still open. I think Liverpool aren't done in this transfer window. I don't think they should be done. I think this team is incomplete. But can you just tell me, am I insane for not automatically picking
have
Liverpool?
them Premier League champions either.
But you probably had Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay. I had Man City. Okay, shoot me. I think we need to lower the hype a little bit on Liverpool, no?
I don't think it's the hype. It's just they are the current champions and they've had the best transfer window that a team has had for a very long time, or maybe the best ever, or maybe one of the greatest summer windows ever. So I think it's normal that a lot of people see them as favorite because of that, because they are the champions, because they were the best team last year, and they are significantly better, or they are certainly a better squad, but that means more pressure on Slot to get it right. You need to integrate new players, which he didn't have to do last summer. We said that many times on the show, which was a big thing, a big positive for him not to have to integrate. And you saw, for example, I know you said we talk about it a bit later, but defensively, their defensive line yesterday with Frimpong and Kerkers in was just all over the place through the whole game.
A lot to work on.
So a lot to work on when you've got new players, which is normal. So I think you and I see it maybe differently, but you understand why people think they are.
I have the same
favorite.
reasons for not choosing them as automatically as champions. I think it's going to be really, really close. And I think also, in addition to integrating all the new players, you're also playing Wirtz in a different position than what he's played before, which, I don't think is something to take for granted. Also, if they repeat as champions, I mean, there's only two coaches that have repeated as champions, I think, since the 1970s. Or I guess since the 1980s.
80s, yeah.
Those are Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola. That's
Yeah,
maybe Arne
it's not
Slot
easy to
will
do.
get there one day.
Maybe.
But he would ascend to that level if he repeats.
Yeah, and to be fair, all of that has an impact on Mo Salah, as you said. Yesterday, you're starting to see that this was not a team that was playing for Salah, maybe like they used to before.
I think there's more to come from Liverpool in this window. I look at this. My main concern, of course, is the back line. Just the two center backs and the cover behind them. Van Dijk and Konate, if they're both fit, but Konate, of course, a year away from free agency. Van Dijk older, and of course, just 2 years. I have a sense, I'm going to put this out there, I want to be on video saying this. I think they will bring in another center back between now and the end of the transfer window. And I wonder if it could be the guy who played against them last night, Mark Gay, who, not officially on the market, but obviously they're generating a ton of interest. Jules, a correction in live time. Sorry, Mourinho.
You forgot Mourinho.
How could I possibly?
You forgot Chelsea and Mourinho.
But I will make the point, though, that, again, of those three, One is probably the greatest, one of the greatest managers in history. So are the other two.
Yeah.
But the other two were also beneficiaries of one of the biggest spending sprees
True.
in history. Especially if you adjust it for inflation or whatnot, both in Mourinho and Pep. I mean that is the level that he would need to operate at. So maybe he will. I don't know. He's proved us wrong before, right?
That's true.
He has redefined our view of bald Dutch managers, right?
Kind of.
He's the exception that proves the rule. I want to go back to the game itself, and let's start with something that happened before the game. I mean, I don't know there's much to talk about, but we do need to note it. The minority of Palace fans who interrupted the Diogo Jota minute of silence, I don't know. There's no backstory there. There's no
stupidity of human beings sometimes, you know.
Yeah. But there's no there was no pre-existing animosity with Jota
I
or
don't
whatever.
think so.
And I wonder too, in a ground that size, it's whenever. I mean, I don't know if you have this in France, but in Italy, whenever they show minutes silence or moment silence, I should say, in the Premier League, and it's always like you can hear a pin drop. They always talk about how impeccable it is. Well, the flip side of that is when everybody is so silent, it doesn't take very many people to cause a ruckus. So, I think that roundly condemned.
It was a real shame, yeah.
Not too much else to say there. In terms of the performance itself, we agree that McAllister should have been a penalty? The handball?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can see is that the handball actually controls the ball for Sarr. So I don't even think that Sarr would have controlled the ball better than McAllister's hands. So maybe the referee saw this as actually the McAllister handball helps Sarr into getting the ball down, shooting, and then it's a great tackle by Kirkers, just a great block by Kirkers to deflect the ball over the bar. Otherwise, it's a goal. In the sense that sometimes those are given because that prevents the player from controlling the ball and in that case, I think he actually helps
There's no
Sarr.
advantage gained, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, actually gave an advantage to Sarr directly from the handball. So
it's plausible. Certainly the buzz that we've gotten is that this season, there'll be more discretion in this kind of thing. I think it's clear. It's a clear and obvious. I mean, I'd love. This is where I'd love to hear the audio, right?
Yeah,
It's Community Shield, nobody cares. But I love to say, like, if the guy said you did see to Tierney, says you did see it, and Tierney says, yeah, I saw it, but
I don't think the trajectory changes,
or if he says, but it was, he was he was in line with his body or whatever, then you have to say, no, look at it again.
Yeah.
If he says there was no real advantage gained or whatever because Sarr got the shot, I mean, that's fine. Just be aware this is another situation where they're kind of interpreting rules on their own.
Yeah,
because his arm is at a 90-degree angle from his body. Beyond that, I know Ekitike got stick for the miss, but I actually thought Liverpool's newcomers, especially Wirtz and Ekitike, I thought they did well in situations that are maybe unfamiliar to them.
Yeah, I mean, you could see already the beginning of a relationship between them two, not just on the goal, but the goal is kind of a double 1-2, and they find each other quite well. And I think they play the same football and think the same football, which is good. Wirtz then played. I didn't really understand the move from slot to play Wirtz as a false nine in that second half, and then even Salah there didn't make much sense to me at all. And that could be a problem later on if you don't think that Ekitike can play the whole 90 minutes every game with the intensity of the Premier League when he's tall but quite skinny, to be fair. And I'm not sure if he'll do well with that kind of physicality. We'll see. But yeah, I thought them two together. I mean, Ekitike is a great player. We've said that many times. It's just how great can he be, how can he become for the money that they paid for him and for the fact that they chose him when they wanted Isak, when they could have probably had Isak if they hadn't signed Ekitike when they did. And that's the thing. So he would have to be very good for all of those reasons. But he showed a lot of promises, I thought, on Sunday.
All right, you mentioned the four-letter word, Isak. There are some suggestions that obviously he's still at loggerheads with Newcastle. So. I think the most logical situation here, because if we operate in terms of logic, I think we both agree, if they do sign another center back, or maybe even if they don't, it's hard to see them spending 130 million or whatever it would take to get Isak. And then if you're Newcastle, you don't want to have an unhappy Isak hanging around. I think the most logical outcome here, although I gave like a 30% chance out of a lot of weird outcomes, is Isak extending his contract, getting a pay rise, which he probably deserves, but also as part of that, getting some sort of release clause.
Yeah, for next season.
Did you think that would make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I think he will stay for another year and then go. He will go in the summer 2026 with some sort of agreement or release clauses or gentleman's agreement, whatever you want, with a fee pre-agreed of 100 million or 120 million with that pay rise for a year.
You mentioned gentleman's agreement. I hate that when it turns
I
up
know.
in transfer. Guys, there is no such thing as a gentleman's agreement in football.
But
right?
release clause don't
Get it up-
exist in the Premier League either.
Get it
So-
on paper. No, but you can
Yeah, you can write it down. Which
you
is quite
can write it
similar.
down and it's legally enforceable. That's all
Yeah.
you need to know. Right?
Yeah.
So get that. None of this gentleman's agreement nonsense, because let's face it, it's football. It's not gentlemen, right?
Sure.
So in terms of the setup, longer term, I think Szoboszlai looks sharp. I think he hit some nice passes and he's
Yeah,
playing deeper.
I mean, the diagonals from Szoboszlai to Frimpong was clearly the way they wanted to play yesterday.
I don't think this is a viable position for him, because I don't know that he has the athleticism, frankly, to get around in sort of that deeper Gravenberch, McAllister type role. So I'm wondering, everybody, when they put their projected Liverpool lineup or when they count the Liverpool forwards, right? They always put Wirtz among the midfielders. And I'm assuming it's because Liverpool briefed at the start of the summer, oh no, he's going to play in the hole. We'll go 4-2-3-1. He's going to replace Szoboszlai. I wonder, going forward, is this really the best solution for Liverpool? Because if you don't sign another forward, if you have situations where you're not sure about Ekitike, you can put Wirtz on the left and you can put Gakpo in the middle.
Yeah.
You have other solutions. My man Harvey Elliott is still there, and he did start out as a winger.
Yeah.
And if Szoboszlai is going to provide you that kind of service, and he's already, I thought he had a good season last year. Was he Liverpool star player? No. But then you also have to imagine it's highly unlikely, too, that Salah is going to have the kind of productivity he had last year. Maybe he will, but if he has a zillion goal involved, last year was literally the best season of his career. I think maybe bar his first one at Liverpool in terms of goals plus assists.
Yeah.
So, if you had to make a bold prediction now, do you think we're going to see Wirtz in the hole all season? Or do you think we'll see more 4-3-3 with Wirtz?
No, I think it's a 4-2-3-1 for me all day long. No other system.
Okay. I'm going to disagree, because to me this makes no sense. It
makes
makes
no
sense
to play 4-3-3 with Wirtz on the left.
Sorry?
It makes no sense to play 4-3-3 for Liverpool with Wirtz on the left.
Why?
But that's not his position.
He's not
He's
his
a 10.
Where did he play last year? He played as a second striker last year.
Yeah. So he played as second striker yesterday.
Well, but but it's a very different last year. He wasn't playing with two wingers and two attacking fullbacks that far high up the pitch. So if you're going to get Kirkez and Frimpong to occupy the wide positions, maybe even Gravenberch drop occasionally, kind of like the Busquets like back three, then all of a sudden I can have him come inside. We can call it 4-3-2-1 if you like. But I think there's a lot more promise in that, and also I don't mess with Szoboszlai.
I don't think Szoboszlai starts in this team.
Yeah, no. I know that's what you think, and I know that's what everybody said.
Yeah.
But
I don't know where Szoboszlai starts. So what's the team then?
It's a 4-2-3-1. Oh, no, I'm not saying every week, but I'm saying is as the season goes on, when people insist that Liverpool need another forward, see, the other forward that you need is already there, and it's Florian Wirtz. It's just that when everybody's put the thing, they've included him among the midfielders.
No, he's played as a false nine through this preseason, but otherwise he's always played as a 10 or a second striker in a 4-2-3-1. They've never changed system in all the friendly they've played.
I don't care about the preseason because people are injured.
I do. The team on Sunday is a team that's going to start against Bournemouth this weekend in the Premier League. You don't play a team in the Community Shield in the same system that you've played in all your friendlies in preseason.
So then let me ask you this:
change for the preseason.
Is this system sustainable if they don't sign another forward over the course of the season? Given what you said about Ekitike, given what you said, if you put him in the hole all season long, right? Do you think they have enough forwards to be able to sustain that all season
Yeah,
long.
I think so.
With Salah going to the Cup of Nations, with Ekitike being young.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
That's only the idea. That's what Slot wanted. That's why they signed the players that they signed for that reason. I don't see it changing. With the ball, there will be a bit of fluidity.
And then
in the
you're
way
not
they
buying
play.
this back three
Yeah,
option either.
that's what I mean. With the ball, if Gravenberch wants to drop, we saw yesterday that Frimpong was by far already there was a bit of Gakpo as a left wing back and Frimpong as a right wing back and Kerkez with Virgil and Konate as the deeper back three if you want. So they might do that again, but Wirtz needs all that freedom that he had yesterday. He dropped deep, touched the ball everywhere. He had a lot of freedom. That's his best position. And then you play Gakpo, Salah, Ekitike. You can play them in different positions. Gakpo can be more central if you want. You can even play Szoboszlai more central like he did away at Spurs last season. That worked so well for them. There's a lot of things you can do, but Wirtz has to have this central free role. Otherwise, there's just no point having him there.
And you don't think you can have that in a 4-3-2? Well, see, this is why
No,
we
definitely
do
not.
not always agree. There
Not
you go.
always.
I'm just telling you, I think this is how I think things will pan out if they do not get another option up front. And I also imagine, I mean, the Harvey Elliott moving stuff has died down a little bit. I think he can be valuable, but they may be in a situation where if they to get the center back that we think that they need, or maybe another forward, he may become expendable, and that obviously would affect the numbers as well. Now, as we write this, it's Monday. We should be getting a decision from the Court of Arbitration for Sport today. Although I'm a little surprised because I think they presented on Friday. But I guess the clock is ticking because it's August. They have to be quick with this. What would a fair outcome be?
The only outcome has to be for them to be in the Europa League. I think they deserve it. I think this whole scenario and thing with John Textor, who, we've said enough on this show, we're not a big fan of. It was just ridiculous from the start. He was never really that involved at Crystal Palace. I mean, he was a disaster for Lyon. Now they finally both got him out of their clubs, and now I think the right outcome is for them to be reintegrated in the Europa League and Forest to stay in the Conference League where they qualified for and they should be.
Yeah, this time I agree with you 100%. You know who disagrees, though? Mr. Marinakis.
Of course.
Funny that. Final word on this, just on text.
But is there a way that they cannot be reintegrated in the Europa League? What could be the justification for CAS to say, actually, we agree with what UEFA did?
Well, I think the justification would be that there was a deadline to file the paperwork.
Okay.
And
so just purely on that kind of...
Well, they would say rules are rules, and they would also say, we have applied these rules in the past to other clubs. And we can't now make an exception when we have punished other clubs for this in the past. I mean, it is a little bit spurious because, when Ratcliffe does it to Nice and, and like City do it to Girona, it's kind of like, are Girona really missing out by not having saying, what does it even mean? Is it just paper? Or Marinakis himself, right? With Forest and Olympiacos, right? That's why I think I'm with you. This is an unusual situation. Yeah. It's a special situation, I think. And once again, they need to rewrite these rules in a way that's very clear, and then say we're going to enforce these rules. Period. And I did have one more point to make. Oh yeah, Mateta. Before they give away the penalty, when he just burst through the middle. How do you? Was there a slip? Was it to give the ball away? Because I'm watching on TV and I'm like, how do you miss that very large man? The counterattack where Ederson goes and saves it, and then a few moments later, Van Dijk fouls Sarr, I think it was, for the penalty, right? It's stuff like that where I wonder if these are situations where the two attacking fullbacks, they're going to have to do a lot of work on that. Yeah,
they were all over the place defensively, Liverpool, not just on that chance for Mateta, where you see Frimpong, Konate, Van Dijk, and Kerkez. Not even 3 or 4. You can have 3 or 4 on the same line, and the fourth one just switched off and stays a little bit behind. But all 4 of them, none of them is even on the same. They're all in a different position on the pitch in that defensive line. Same on the Sarr goal, on the second goal. There's a couple of moments where Munoz was free on the right-hand side, where they're all over the place. You work on it, but you're right. Attacking fullbacks, in a way, very different to what Robertson or Trent used to do, in a way. And you just need to work on that again. But when Van Dijk gambles on the second goal, for example, that's fine if the other three are on the same line. But if you have Van Dijk gambling and not being the right decision, and then the three behind him all over the place, it's a disaster.
What we don't know is if he called it and the others didn't react. But if he did call it and the others didn't react, it was three people failing to notice at the same time.
Yeah, it's okay for one to come out as long as the other three are on the same line. But Van Dijk came out, but the other three were not even on the same line, which just adds more chaos to their back line. So something to sort out. But we've said from the beginning, Kerkers may be different. Frimpong is not really a right back. He's a right winger. He's a winger. And he does winger stuff.
To the Trent question. Trent, much maligned defensively. There's no doubting his attacking contribution and his creativity. There is a school of thought that says somebody else needs to supply that creativity. Now, obviously, Wirtz will do it further up the pitch. Again, my view is I'd like to keep Wirtz closer to the goal, but whatever. Is this an issue that you've replaced him with somebody who's just very, very different? Like in Frimpong. Or is
it's a different style of creativity, like as we saw on the Frimpong goal, which should have never been a goal. Like Anderson makes a massive mistake on that.
You don't want to say he meant it? No?
Oh, he definitely didn't mean it. Although his celebration looked like he meant it, but we all know he didn't mean it. But so it will bring you something else, which again could have an impact on Mo Salah, because Trent was never an overlapping right back. Frimpong will very much be, I need that space in front of me because
I'm going to take
on. Yeah. Push Salah inside. How does that work? We will see. But it's a different style of creativity. It's just defensively, I'm more worried about Frimpong. Going forward, he will be good for them. Defensively, I'm not too sure.
Hence my 4-3-2-1 view with Wirtz and Salah behind Ekitike or Gakpo. See, that gets me excited. All right, enough Community Shield. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Let's start with the reigning champions of Europe, Jules. Lucas Chevalier is in the house.
Yes.
Chicho Donnarumma is a year from free agency. There's no new contract in sight. No contract talks either, apparently.
No.
This usually ends one way.
PSG want Donnarumma to leave because they could not find an agreement on extending his contract. They brought in Lucas Chevalier for 40 million euros plus 15 in bonuses, which is a lot of money for a goalkeeper, the most expensive goalkeeper in French football history, which is great. He's young, he's good with the ball at his feet, he's good on his line, he's really, really good talent. But I mean, for Donnarumma, well, whether he stays and sits on the bench for a season, which I don't think he wants to do.
Or you could say he sits on the bench and competes with Chevalier and the man bun. He's been here before. Remember when they brought in Keylor Navas?
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. He's going to stay on the bench. He's not going to become a number one, and Chevalier is the number one. So he does what he wants, but if he stays, is to be on the bench. I think he wants to go and find another club. He should, really. That's the only way, I think, certainly from the club's point of view, that's the only thing they want.
He's going to need to take a major pay cut from his current salary.
Problem. But that's the reason why he could not get an extension.
Well, as I understand it, he actually wanted a bump. Certainly from his camp, what comes out, Paris Saint-Germain were willing to offer him a comparable amount of money, maybe a little bit more bonus-oriented.
Completely. No, there's no more. He's the last player in the squad with the contract that he has, without incentives.
And then he said no, and he wanted a bump.
Yeah, so he's already on, I think, 10 million a year. He wanted more money, but those contracts don't exist at the club anymore. You're paid like Zabani is on 4 million a year. That can go up to 8 with incentives. These are the new contracts at the club. Donnarumma didn't want that contract. That's a shame for him. But he's not the only top goalkeeper to be a year away from free agency, Gab. You wrote about this recently.
Yeah, and I lumped Donnarumma in with Ederson and Maignan. I know some people like to criticize Ederson. But I think most normal people would say, all right, these three guys are top 10 keepers in the world, right?
Yeah.
None of them are old. I think Ederson's the oldest at 31. Maignan, I think, is 30, and Donnarumma is still just 26. and yet there's no buzz, there's no links to other contracts. I mean, I'm sure I think City might still be talking to Ederson about extending, but that seems to have gone cold. We told you about Donnarumma. With Mignon, Milan's attitude is let's wait and see. I find it interesting, and a theory was put to me, and I will put it to you. From somebody, he said that the prevailing idea in football is that, they called it the 15-30-45-60 idea, is that there's 15 outstanding strikers. If there's 15 outstanding strikers, there's 30 outstanding midfielders, 45 outstanding defenders, and 60 outstanding keepers. In other words, the gap between a truly difference-making keeper and one step down is actually very, very small. Do you buy that? Or do you believe it's true, but do you believe clubs think it's true? Because the keeper's called on to, we judge keepers basically over the course of a game. There's maybe one shot that is maybe savable, non-savable, and whatever else, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with a striker, he'll touch the ball. Well, he doesn't touch the ball necessarily more times, but it'll be goals or misses.
Yeah, no, I would say there's probably as importance in the two positions, and I think goalkeepers are just. I'm not sure I buy that 60. Was it 60, 45?
Basically, there's 4 times
15.
as many keepers as there are strikers who can do a job.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, then one
top
day
goalkeepers are really rare to find.
See, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because you could chuck Jan Sommer back at you, for example. Everybody kind of said, "Who is this guy?" And then
there's not many like him though.
Well, all right. More keepers, Jules. Let's stay with Esteem. Somebody who I thought was a top goalkeeper, but apparently Barcelona don't think so anymore.
No.
Marc-Andre Ter Stegen back in Barca's good books after agreeing to sign a medical report accepting he'll be out for at least 4 months. Why is this important?
It is important because that will enable Barcelona to register players. There's this loophole. We can call it a loophole, right?
Yeah, it's in the rules.
It's in the rules, but they've took advantage of it before as well. What was it with the Christensen injury, where if a player is out for more than 4 months, then you somehow made space in your
salary
cap, your wage cap to register players that you've signed, like Marcus Rashford, for example. So this was very important for Barcelona to say to Ter Stegen, hey, listen, why don't you sign this paper? He didn't want to at the beginning, so they stripped him off his captaincy. It was quite messy.
It's messy, and I don't think it's very becoming. And I think this should have been done, but whatever they're going to do, should have done behind closed doors and not in public.
Yeah. Sticking with Barcelona, Inigo Martinez is on his way to Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia and reportedly won't be replaced. Does that make sense to you?
No, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm assuming this is wrong, and they will have to find a replacement because otherwise, your other center back is going to be Araujo, right? Who's basically been terrible and injured for the last 2 years, or Christensen. Well, no, I said your other one.
Oh yeah, your other one. Yeah,
Christensen, right? Or maybe you move Jules Koundé back inside, where he's like to be your miniature center back.
Or Eric Garcia, your friend.
Or Eric Garcia,
Who's still there somehow.
One. Yeah, I think this is a smokescreen. And you know what? That Rashford money, why not spend it on a center back? Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits.
Yes.
Manchester United have their center forward. Finally, it's Benjamin Sesko.
It is, Gabby. It's the end of the summer saga for the number 9 at Manchester United. They've tried others. They could not get who they wanted first. So it's Sesko. Let's see. I mean, Ruben Amorim, after their friendly against Fiorentina, was like, yeah, we struggled last year because we didn't have a proper number 9. That's for you, Højlund and Zirkzee. But now we do, so hopefully things will be better. It's pressure on Sesko, who never scored more than 13 goals in the league in one season.
And I don't think he's played as a lone striker either. He's always played in a 2.
Absolutely, with Openda, for example, last season at Leipzig. So we'll see. It's a lot of money again, 85 million in total with bonuses.
It's even more than Gyökeres, the kind of guy.
Absolutely.
Kind of funny, Gyökeres, the guy you thought might be reunited with Amorim, goes there. The other one, the Arsenal, the club with the young players, might have gone for the younger striker instead.
And that's a lot of money spent on three players for Manchester United with Cunha and Mbeumo. And Gab, Sesko's arrival suggests one of Zirkzee or Højlund will be on the move.
Both. And I tell you, who's not going to be sad to see either one leave?
No.
Mark Ogden, of course.
Yeah, of course. He doesn't
Højlund's been linked to Milan in a loan move. Milan are also looking at Dusan Vlahovic. I think what they're trying to do is play one off the other.
Yeah.
I think they like Martinez. There's also been some suggestion of Rafael Leao playing through the middle, Pulisic going back to his spot on the left. They figure they're biding their time on this. Højlund apparently wants to stay and fight for his place. We'll see how this turns out. Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal is done. It's a 53 million euro deal between him and Luis Diaz. Liverpool raised more than 100 million for two guys who were destined to be on the bench this season.
Probably. I think they're two good deals. I mean, Diaz, there was always going to be a market for him, whether that was Barcelona or Bayern Munich, and they sold well for somebody that they paid a lot of money for. Darwin, they also paid a lot of money for, didn't work out as well as Luis Diaz. And really, there was no market for Darwin anywhere apart from Saudi. And Al Hilal is the club. Good luck to him. But it's decent. It's decent for Liverpool. Again, they've sold well this summer.
And I think from his perspective, he got killed by people saying, why are you going now? Why don't you go and prove them wrong in Europe? The stats nerds come out and say his pressing stats, his work rate, blah, blah, blah. I think there's a World Cup coming up. And he says, maybe this is a little bit easier for me out there. And then in a year's time, we'll see.
And we've seen players going to Saudi and still coming back to Europe after. It's not the end of your career. Back to Milan, Gabi. They've moved Malik Chow to Newcastle for 40 million euros and I've already picked up his replacement.
That's right. Cohn de Winter from Genoa, 20 million. He's a gifted
Good signing.
A different profile, though, from Malik Chow. Malik Chow, of course, very big, very physical.
Very different.
What I don't fully get about Newcastle is they really have a lot of center backs. Obviously, I guess Schär and Byrne are a little bit older.
Yeah.
Botman, you never know with the injuries. And, of course, they've got Kraft as well. But curious to see how he does. It seems like it's on the higher end for what his valuation would be. But he is a German international. He's 23 years old.
True.
More center backs. Paris Saint-Germain are about to drop a lot of money on Bournemouth's Ilya Zabarny as the Cherries dismantle their entire back line. You feeling good about this?
I like him a lot, Gabi. They wanted a right centre back. Luis Enrique wanted one. They identified him a long time ago. He's young. He's the profile they want. You're right, Solomon. He's 60 million euros.
For the second best second best centre back at Bournemouth last year.
Was it? It's just certainly a different profile to Huijsen. I prefer Zabarny than Huijsen. Some others would prefer Huijsen for the quality on the ball.
I prefer Zabarny to Beraldo, I think, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, okay. Do you prefer him to Marquinhos? That's tough, isn't it?
Time is undefeated. He's getting older, but
we love Marquinhos. But I would not mind the Zabarny-Pacho partnership at centre back for PSG. So we'll see. But you're right. It's a lot of money and there will be pressure that comes with it.
Anybody point out the fact that this dude's Ukrainian and the man bun is Russian?
Already, yeah. We'll have to follow that up.
All right. So you can just move Safonov and then Donnarumma can challenge Chevalier for the number 2.
He can be the number 2 for sure because Rana is number 3 even.
Endrick will wear the number 9 shirt at Real Madrid, and we get news that Camavinga is injured once again. Ankle boo-boo. Any deeper significance to Endrick with the number 9 shirt?
No, I don't think so. Became available because Kylian took the number 10 from Modric, who left the club. I guess if you're
Gonzalo, maybe you thought you might get the number 9.
Yeah, true. Maybe Endrick thought, I see. Endrick
or maybe
said, hang on. I'm the backup number 9 here, not Gonzalo, who did well while I was injured at the Club World Cup. So let me get the number 9. Yeah, maybe it's that kind of a bit
maybe
of
save
flex.
it for Isak or Joselu coming back. No,
definitely not. Ademola Lookman is off training by himself in Portugal. Gab, what's happening, and will he be able to force the move that he wants to Inter?
So this is a rerun, I think, of the Teun Koopmeiners situation last year, where Atalanta have a bright young star, and they're saying, hey, this is the number you want to go, and we're not budging from that. And so Inter have offered 50 million package, is 45 plus 5 in bonuses. Atalanta's saying, that's not quite enough for the African Ballon d'Or. The guy scored a hat trick in the European Super Cup. Europa League final even. Atalanta are entitled to do this. He's going to start getting fined. I think this is going to go down to the wire. I don't see how Inter can get him without putting more money on the table. Yeah. If they shift Taremi, maybe they can start thinking about him. I think it'd be a tremendous signing.
I agree.
He's a phenomenal footballer. Rodri's unlikely to be fit until after the September break, Jules.
Yeah, that's the injury he picked up during the Club World Cup, groin injury. I mean, as we know, he didn't. He came back not that long before the end of the season, then played in the Club World Cup, and now this it's another month and a half, probably between 4 and 6 weeks off, which is a long time again, and misses the start of the season again, like he did last season already before the knee injury. It's just not good.
Jules, as you know, I am not a doctor. You are far more medically adjacent than
Far
me.
more.
I don't understand it. This guy's been rehabbing for a year.
Yeah.
Right? And he's presumably have these sports scientists and stuff back around him. And you put him on the pitch in the Club World Cup. And you can't blame the Club World Cup for this. It just happens. It could happen in training.
Yeah.
How does this happen again?
I don't know. Did he come back too soon at the end of the season? Did he train too hard to come back? I don't know. Is this an injury to that in compensation for the? I just don't know. Or it's just bad luck maybe. And
Maybe it's just bad luck. I don't know. I just
Maybe.
want to see him on the pitch.
I know.
Also because City are my picks to win the Premier
Yeah,
League.
of course. So you need him on the pitch to be right in your prediction. Sticking with City as well, Gabby. Everton continue to pursue Jack Grealish on loan, but according to the Times, the wages are sticking points.
Well, actually, Jules, as we record this in real time, wages were a sticking
Yeah.
point. Apparently, the Times reporting that he's having a medical very, very shortly. I'm glad. I just wonder why wasn't this resolved earlier? He was reportedly on about £300,000 a week. That's about 15 million pounds a year. Everton were willing to pay less than a third of that to take him on loan, which is pretty normal in these situations. City's
Yeah.
saying, well, hang on, we don't want to get stuck with the extra 10 million. This is where you expect the player to take a step back. Apparently, they've reached an agreement. I hope he's taken a step back. And I'm wondering, dude, it's the middle of August. Why didn't you do this sooner?
That's true.
Why didn't, the moment you weren't going to the US, why didn't you say, hey, what can I do to make this deal happen for me, for my England career, for everyone? England women's keeper Hannah Hampton revealed she did something sneaky to get the upper hand over Spain in the Euro 2025 final shootout, Jules.
Yeah, that's right, Gab. She said that, sometimes goalkeepers for the shootout, they've got on their water bottle where
Penalty notes,
penalty
of
notes and
opponents.
stuff like that. And she said that she threw away in the fans from the pitch the water bottle of Catacol, the Spanish goalkeeper, before the penalty shootout. So she would not have the notes in front of her before each penalty taker was taking a penalty. Which, one, I'm a bit surprised that if this is true, she actually said, hey, look what I did. It's not really fair.
And this
play
is
to start.
entirely unprompted. It's not
Yeah,
like
completely.
somebody reported and she admitted it. She's like, oh, look what I did. I cheated.
I know, man. Two, there was 1,000 cameras and people in the stadium and everything. Surely we would have seen if she had done that. And three, maybe the best of this whole story is that Catacol actually reacted to the story on social media saying, whoa, just calm down, because it's not true. So somebody's lying clearly here, either Catacol or Anna Hampton.
This is such a bizarre,
Really
it's
strange.
such a bizarre, and apparently they had the same water bottle, but like hers didn't have notes because she's like, look, I put my notes like on my arm, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody needs some media advice. I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. Gab, what is justice for players and why are they suing FIFA for €1 billion?
Yeah, so this is a group. It's a foundation. It's a group of lawyers. And you remember the Lassana Diarra case?
Oh, yes.
Which basically has to do with unilateral termination of a contract, where essentially you sign a contract and you say, I don't want to play here anymore, and then does FIFA have the right to punish you by withholding your registration, stopping you from signing for another club, which is what happened to him. Now, he won his case. The European Court of Justice told FIFA that they needed to go and rewrite the rules. FIFA have rewritten them. People aren't satisfied with them. This group, Justice for Players, says, well, wait a minute. If these rules were unfair since 2002, since this agreement was in place, then this has obviously caused economic damage to all these players. So they've launched a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
And they say it could add up. There's more than 100,000 men's and women's players apparently who are eligible to seek compensation through this. And they say that it could add up to more than €1 billion in compensation.
Wow, okay.
I'm not a lawyer. You know my view on lawyers.
I do.
But I think the view on this, and knowing some of the people involved, the goal is to win this lawsuit, to say, look, you've broken European law. You knowingly broke European law for all these years. We don't really want €1 billion. FIFA are not going to give them €1 billion.
Yeah.
We want you, and the court judgments normally say, listen, you can settle and you rewrite the rules. And I think they want to rewrite rules on transfers in a way that involves not just players, but also clubs, fans, every stakeholder.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything's going to happen for the next 3 years. So
No.
Levi Colwell will miss a big chunk of the season after injuring his cruciate. Jules, are they something a little short at the back?
Well, it's Tosin, Shaloba, and Wesley Fofana is back now, and I guess you could play James there, maybe even Kukureya there, but that's pushing a little bit then. So yeah, I think they are a little bit. This was obviously not planned. The Colwell injury would have been a starter in that team, all season long, really. So that would probably force them to go and sign another
This is
defender.
a genuine question. I've lost track. I'm assuming Badiashile and Disasi are...
They're there, but they kind of... I guess Badiashile could be the one replacing him, but I'm not sure how much they like him and how much they want to play him. That's the thing.
Well, another year just reduces his amortization.
Yeah, true. We said earlier that we were waiting to see what the future of Palace was in Europe this season, and it seems that Cass has made his decision, Gab.
Yeah, so as we're reporting this, the excellent Martin Ziegler at the Times reporting that, and he always gets these right, that the Court of Arbitration of Sport have ruled that they're going to go into the Conference League. This has to do with multi-club ownership rules. John Textor, of course, I can't believe we're talking about this guy again, who at the time was the owner of Lyon. He would have had two teams. He had just over he had a 45% stake roundabout in Crystal Palace, and of course he had Lyon. Under UEFA rules. You have to either put your shares into a blind trust by March. You cannot own two teams in the same competition. Now, Palace obviously didn't know they were going to win the Europa League.
The FA Cup.
Yeah. The FA Cup at the time, and that they were going to be playing in the Europa League. And of course, they made the case also that Textor, yes, he had 45%, but he only had 25% of the voting shares, and he wasn't really involved. Now, of course, ironically, supposedly not that involved in Lyon either.
No, at all. He's been kicked out.
I think this feels really, really unfair.
Yeah.
I can understand why CAS found in UEFA's favor, because that is what the rules say. It seems kind of hokey to me that, teams like Manchester United, or owners like Ineos with United and Nice, or the City Football Group with Girona and Manchester City, or indeed our friend and John Textor's friend, Mr. Marinakis, can go out and say, oh, look, this is my lawyer buddy here. He now runs the blind trust, and these clubs have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
City didn't file the paperwork for that. It just seems unfair to me that it feels like a double standard, because obviously these blind trusts are nonsense.
Yeah.
UEFA, I think, need to go down and rewrite the rules on multi-club ownership. And for my part, I would have it very, very simple. You cannot have, you simply cannot, if you own more than 1% of a club, you cannot be in the same competition. Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just have those rules very clearly. None of this blind trust nonsense. You can have a transition period if you want. I mean, this whole blind trust, these are supposed to be transitional rules, by the way, until they write the definitive ones. And this applies to our friends at Red Bull and nonsense with the sponsorship. Like, I just do not see the benefit to this at all. Fabrizio Romano reports that Spurs are pursuing Savinho, and he's open to a move, Jules.
Yeah, and City not so much. Apparently, Rob Dawson is explaining on the ESPN website, and that if Savinho really wanted to go, then City would ask for £50 million for Savinho, which, I mean, is a lot of money for somebody that they got for not much money, considering he was playing for one of their parent clubs, as we've just explained. Spurs already have a lot of wide players. Is Savinho better than Odobert, Kulusevski, or Kudus, Johnson, or Matistel? Maybe not. I mean,
Richarlison is there too. He can play wide too. Forget about him. Don't forget Rico.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that if Savinho goes, then I think City are looking at Xavi Simons to replace him, which is maybe not a bad idea. I don't see really why City would want to let him go, and I'm not sure why you would want to swap City for Spurs, though.
I guess playing time. I guess maybe with Shirky there, he looks at it, and I mean, I think with the Xavi Simons thing, it also seems to me like it's a pretty philosophical choice. What kind of profile? Because yeah, they can both play wide, but they're very different people.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I mean, Savinho far more direct, north south. He does what Doku does, right? And Xavi Simons more of a creative number 10 guy playing wide.
Yeah. Mo Salah has called out UEFA for its obituary on social media, eulogizing the death of former Palestinian international Suleiman Al Obeid, Gab.
Yeah, basically what he wrote was, can you tell us how he died, where, and why? And I think this is a pointed question because I think, I don't want to put words in Salah's mouth, but a lot of people read this as there's a certain kind of hypocrisy where you point out that he passed away, but you don't point out the circumstances. And of course, according to the Palestinian FA, had to do while he was waiting to receive humanitarian aid in Gaza. It's obviously everybody's familiar with the situation there. It'll be interesting to see whether there's any response from UEFA on this. I don't think there will be. The world of football has, or the authorities have gone out of their way to remain at arm's length, sometimes with decisions. I mean, I'm thinking of FIFA now. When there was a resolution over this, they argued that, well, we don't want to get involved because we don't want to mess up negotiations for a ceasefire. Okay, fine. Now it's been like a year and a half, and obviously they haven't come and go. Like, yeah, it's just a reminder that I guess football exists in the real world. Kingsley Coman is on his way to Al Nassr from Bayern and reported 30 million odd deal. Good money, right?
Yeah, good money. When he extended his contract not that long ago with Bayern, remember? He had a year left and he signed a new deal. And then now he's out and going to Saudi Arabia for, I think, I'm not sure. I was told 25 million a year, which I love Kingsley Coman. He's a Paris-born and bred kid. He's one of mine. But this is crazy from Al Nassr. But he would be very good in Saudi Arabia. Bayern will go and replace him, probably with Nick Voldemort. Voldemort probably, or another winger or somebody. They will have that money to spend. Good for them. Again, in terms of amortization, the Coman deal is done, so that's money going straight into the account. So it makes sense in a way from a Bayern point of view, from a Coman point of view. At 28, I'm not too sure.
I mean, I guess his France career, he figured, was probably over anyway, and maybe he's had a number of injuries, maybe kinder weather than the harsh German winters, although they haven't worked a break anyway. The Voldemort, though, one's interesting, though, because I've only ever seen him operate behind a striker.
Yeah.
Right? Musiala will be back at some point. Could he be a backup to Harry Kane, too?
Yeah, maybe. I think there's a bit of that. He can play wide at times, even with Stuttgart, he did sometimes. So it's a possibility. He's more one for the future, though. Yeah, we know Milan have done a 180-degree turn this summer, but were you surprised to see Adriano Galliani back?
Yeah, I was more than surprised. I was
disappointed.
I mean, I'm not a Milan fan, so no, I just thought this is so weird, right? And I know that the ownership has gone in a different direction with Redbird, but this is exactly I would have thought what you don't want. Unless like, Galliani's back just to be kind of like an ambassador, like, oh, look, wise old grandpa. The man is 81 years old.
81.
So for those who don't know, Galliani was really the architect of the great Milan sides of the 80s and 90s when he worked under Silvio Berlusconi, whatever. And he was still involved in football. He was running Monza, who got relegated, by the way, not that anybody noticed. The idea is he seems to be really good at dealing with the media, and everybody talks about how he's still so sharp and clever, even though he's 81. It's just not a progressive move. And
no.
I think if things go south, they have to be careful. If things go south between Galliani and Allegri, people are going to say, hey, look, you're trying to bring like the late 90s back.
Yeah.
Your boy, Eric Ten Hag, continues to throw around that Florian Wirtz money, Jules. Bayer Leverkusen looking to pick up Loic Badet, who I discovered has been capped for France.
Yeah, he has. He's part of the squad now. Yeah, he's quite regularly called up.
Well, then 25 million from Sevilla. That's a snip. Can we say something nice about Eric?
I mean, we can say that I think that's a good price for a good centre back that a lot of clubs were looking at. He's not, Virgil van Dijk yet, but I think there's a really good potential there and already a good player. So it makes sense for Eric Ten Hag, who needs something positive this summer because it hasn't been the greatest summer either.
Better
before
than the
Bundesliga
center backs
start.
they have, though?
That's a very good question. Let's see if he is. Gab, why have Al Hilal withdrawn from the Saudi Super Cup, and what about their punishment?
Okay, so they came back from the Club World Cup, and obviously they went further than people expected
yeah.
because I think they knocked out a big European club along the
They
way.
did, yeah.
And they said, wait a minute, no. Well, they said, Simone Inzaghi said,
Yeah.
Saudi Super Cup, which, by the way, funny enough, you know where they play the Saudi Super Cup?
No.
In Hong Kong.
Well, okay.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because Spain and Italy come to Saudi to play their Super Cup, and the Saudi Super Cup is played in Hong Kong. And I think it was at the beginning of August, and I said, no, screw this. Like, Inzaghi's like, we need preseason prep, we need to prepare. We're not doing this. And so they've been fined $500,000 which is, don't get too excited, it's $120,000.
Yeah, it's not much.
Kingsley Coman's hourly wage, just about. And they've also been banned from the Saudi Super Cup next year. Now, the reason that I think this is interesting to me is that Al Hilal, 75% owned by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, which is the country's sovereign wealth fund, who finance basically the entire league, and who also are big sponsors of the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
It does show that, at least within football, there is some level of dissent.
There is.
And I'm pretty sure Inzaghi, because, okay, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to speculate, he is 99% of behind this.
Yeah.
He's saying, no, screw this. You want me to be a manager? I'm not just going to go up and play in some rinky-dink Super Cup. I'm going to get ready for the season. We want to take the season seriously,
Yeah.
right? And good for him.